In today's episode, once again, we speak to the amazing, the beautiful, the courageous Rosalean Batool. Rosalean is a wealth hypnotist and a multi-six-figure Muslim WLC. Rosalean has helped many, many women transform their wealth as well as their relationships using feminine energy and the laws of the universe. And today we're talking to her about the use of the law of assumption in order to become wealthy. Let's find out. Welcome. This is Gull, your money mindset expert. And once again, we have the amazing, we have the courageous, we have the brilliant Rosalean Batool. Welcome, Rosalina.
Thank you, Gull. Thank you so much for having me back.
Thank you so much for coming, Rosalean. We had such a fantastic conversation on Friday feature. We had to have you back on Money Talkies. But please tell everybody what it is that you do.
Okay, so I'm Rosalean Batool. I am a wealth hypnotist and I help female CEOs conquer burnout in 1 hour so that they can awaken their feminine energy and live life with more purpose, passion, and pleasure.
Wonderful. And so, Rosalean, today's topic is all about how to use the law of assumption to become wealthy. What is the law of assumption? Let's go start with the definition.
So the law of assumption is basically changing the way you think about yourself and believing that everything you have, you already have, everything you need, actually, everything you need outside of you is already within you, creating itself. So the best way I can describe is and use the opposite, law of attraction. With the law of attraction, we're taught that we have to think something and we have to keep thinking it, and then it will come into our space. So it's telling us that we have to change our frequency in order to attract. With the law of assumption, you just radiate it. You radiate abundance because you believe you are already abundant. You believe you have everything you need. You change your self-concept. You change the way you think about yourself. That raises your vibration, and then you're able to shift your environment around you and everything magically falls into place. And then you will attract more abundance that way, sort of like thinking, affirming, journaling. You just think in your mind, I'm rich, I have everything I need, and that raises your vibration to attract everything you want.
So you're using the concept I am very, very clearly and at a deep subconscious level. I am rich, I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am married, etc., etc. So how does one sort of come on, accept that I am wealthy or I am healthy when all external evidences point to the opposite? So, for example, someone is, their business has gone down, or they've lost their job, they've just been fired, and they've got mortgages to pay, especially in this day and age with the recession going on and the inflation going through the roof. They know they've got their bills to pay, and maybe they have children, and they're responsible for the people. And how does one believe they have the money when they don't see the evidence of it in the bank accounts?
Okay, so you don't create money, you receive it. And when we think about bills, I want to go to bills first. When we think about bills, we get afraid of the word bill, and that's what creates panic. So now that we know we are frequencies, we are all radiating something. The moment we start thinking about money in a deficit, we start saying to ourselves, I don't have money, I can't afford it, I have bills to pay. We instantly put ourselves into a lack state, into a state of fear.
Yes.
And then what that does then, it repels money coming to you, right? And I want you to understand that the word bill. The word bill is not a bill of money, it's a bill of time. So it's not your subconscious mind that's saying, oh my God, I don't have money. It's just basically your subconscious mind saying, we're running out of time. That's it. So when you understand that concept, you're not running out of money. Money is abundant. It's always around you. Like, think about it. The house you live in, even though you pay rent on it, it's worth maybe £500,000 or maybe less. It's worth something, right? The cooker you bought is worth something. The food in your fridge is worth something. It all needed money. So you have proof that money is available to you. You live in a house, you have clothes on your back, you have food in your fridge, you have heating, you have light, right? These are all manifestations of money. So you have the evidence for money, but now when you hear the word bill, you instantly go into a panic, and that sends out a frequency in the world like, okay, money, stop coming to me. Money, don't come near me because I'm stressed out about you. Every time I hear your name, you are stressing me out. And then what happens with money is it doesn't come to you because it's like, okay, we're stressing out Gull, we're stressing out Rosie. Let's stop going to her until she's in a state to receive. So when it comes to law of assumption, is that you are in the state of receiving. You prime your mind to be like, I have money. The proof is I have light. I have clothes on my back, I have internet, I have food in my fridge. Like when you actually think about money, what do you need the money for? We tell ourselves, I need money for something. But what if you were just to believe that you are money? You are the one that receives money. You are the energy of money. And the more you sit into that space, the more money will come to you. And this works. I'll tell you why it works. When I was broke and I was homeless, I was in a refuge. I never once said to myself, I can't afford it. I'm broke. I'm poor. I'm in a refuge. I never said that to myself. I never believed it about myself. Instead, what I kept saying is, I'm rich. I'm a millionaire. I'm blessed beyond measure. I'm abundant. And because of that thinking, I was able to get out of a refuge, set up my business, make multi six figures, wearing a niqab, wearing a face veil, simply because of what I think about myself. So the law of assumption is not about attracting, it's more about believing you have everything you need. And the more you stay in the state of safety that I have everything I need, the more you're going to be able to have more of the abundance in your life.
I think this is a very, very powerful concept. I mean, I talk about it in a slightly different way. I would say time doesn't really exist. Past, present, future is happening simultaneously at the same time. The concept of time has been invented by us to understand and relate to what's going on in our physical 3D world. Otherwise, it doesn't really exist. So if that's the case, that there's a part of you in the future that already has the car. There's a version of you in the future that already has the baby. There's a version of you that in the future that already has the health that you're looking for, the body that you're looking for, the hair and wherever else is. We just need to connect with that part. And if that part has it, then if that's happening simultaneously to me talking right now, then that means I have whatever it is that I'm looking for and focusing on. And that's how you pull it in. I mean, I talk about multi-dimensions and multiple realities and multiple universes, and then that happens. That's another conversation for another time. But using that, that conversation here, you're saying the same thing. You're just saying assume. So I was saying you already have it. You just don't know it yet. You're saying assume you have it. It's the same thing. Yeah. It's assume that you are rich. You're going by. No, you're not asking to be rich. You are rich. You're not asking to be healthy, you are healthy. You're not asking for the business, you have the business. You're not asking for the car, you have the car. It's that kind of concept. And finding evidence in your day-to-day life to back up that assumption, that's what you're supposed to do. Now, when we were talking off camera, you said you can use your sexual energy to make this even more powerful. How can we use our own unique sexual energy? By this for men and women. But how can we use our sexual energy to reinforce this idea that we are wealthy, that we are abundant, that we are healthy, that we're already in that happy, healthy relationship? How do we go about doing that?
So it's passion, right? When we think about sexual energy, it goes back to passion. When you're in that moment with your husband and you want to have intimate relationships with him, it's passion. There's passion between you. If you bring this element to your life, are you passionate about life? Like when you wake up in the morning, do you feel like, oh my God, I feel so just orgasmic. It just feels amazing to be alive. If you're not in that state, and I don't mean like being in that state 24/7. I mean, when you wake up in the morning and you see everything around you and you think, oh my gosh, I have everything I need. And it feels so pleasurable, right? Just as if you were to have an intimate relationship with your husband, just that pleasurable feeling that this feels so good. It feels so good to be alive. Like, I know we hear it so many times, like, oh, be grateful for being alive. Okay, let me go be grateful. I am grateful for being. It's not like that. It means literally feeling it in your vagina, feeling it in your clitoris, and allowing it to come up into your stomach, into your womb, and then you feel it in your heart. You're like, oh my God, I'm alive. Allah chose me. God chose me to be alive today. That means I have a purpose. There's something that needs to be fulfilled today, and I already have that purpose. I already have it. And I love the fact that you mentioned about time, right? It's so true. Everything is living, past, present, future is living in our minds simultaneously. Yep. Is that when we see our future, we don't see it through the eyes of who we are right now. We are seeing it through the eyes of that person that has it. So let's say you want a G-Wagon. When you're thinking about the G-Wagon in your mind, you can see yourself driving it. It's not you right now who's driving it. It's that woman who has the G-Wagon who's driving it. She has different thoughts, different behaviors. All you have to do is think like her. All you have to do is ask, I wonder what she thinks of. I wonder how she makes decisions. I wonder what kind of frequency she's in. I wonder what kind of vibration she's in. Get curious. This is another part of sexual energy, getting curious. You know, when you meet your husband, let's say your first night with him, you get curious about what he likes, right? He gets curious about you as well. What do you like? What you don't like? This is the same way with law of assumption. Get curious about what turns you on. What makes you happy? What makes you feel truly grateful? Is it that cup of coffee? Or is it waking up in the morning? Or is it going for a drive and filling up your petrol? What truly makes you grateful? So it's about turning on your desire of being alive. That's the true essence of it.
Okay, that's powerful, because when you understand and when you connect to your pleasure, that's when you deep dive into your feminine energy. I think that's one of the biggest things that I think, and unfortunately, when I'm saying this, and I'm saying this because I am one of those females, I think ambitious people, men and female alike, I mean, females more than probably men, we give up our pleasures because we have to focus on our business, on our work, and our, especially once we become mothers. God forbid we should think about pleasure when you're a mother, right? So, and then the irony is, the more we allow ourselves to experience pleasure, and I'm not just talking about sexual pleasure, I mean just pleasure in general, being that food, that being fresh air, whatever brings pleasure to you, being in the outdoors or under the sun, or whatever, on the beach, whatever have you. When the more pleasure we allow to ourselves, the more we receive. But we get so hung up on doing, which is actually the masculine energy. We stop making time for ourselves to have pleasure. Pleasure for some people could just be going to the gym. Or I know one of my cousins, for her me time is when she goes gym, which is non-negotiable for her. Me, I will cancel my gym time to go make food for my kids, whereas she will say they can go hungry or they can do whatever else. I'm gonna go and get my go for my gym. Right. I'm not saying who's right or who's wrong, because for me it's very easy. It would be a lot easier for me just to make sure my time's different, so that I do cook beforehand, so in order for me to go to the gym. But I mean, I'm giving that as an example because that's what I did yesterday. Instead of going to the gym, I made food for my kids. But I sacrifice me time. I sacrifice things would give me pleasure because I'm supposed to do things for my kids and my business and my clients. But that actually is counterproductive from what you're saying to me, because I need to make time for things that give me pleasure, because that's how things. And that could be going to the gym or making food. If making food gives you pleasure, then that's fine. It doesn't to me, by the way. So then you do things which give you pleasure, and that would allow you to be a better receiver, and that would allow you to tune into the energy of what it is that you're trying to bring into your life, especially money. Is that right?
That's so true. And you know why it's so important for you to give yourself pleasure first, because this is why people sabotage. Because when we don't know what pleasure feels like, when we do get that money, we sabotage ourselves, spend it, save it, scared to spend it, or I need to give it to someone, because we don't know what pleasure feels like. We're just like you said, we're so used to doing that we think, oh my God, I've got to do something with this money now. Oh my God, I don't have the blueprint in my mind of what it's supposed to feel like when I receive this money. All I told myself was, I need to make 5K a month. Once I made the 5K, what do I do now? Because I don't know how it's supposed to pleasure me. So if you give yourself pleasure all the time and you put yourself first, and I mean, put yourself before you, I put myself before my kids, and I happily say that, because my kids do not benefit me being angry. My kids don't benefit me being annoyed, irritated, or frustrated. And if I don't get my me time of 10 minutes in the day, as soon as I wake up, no one talk to me. I'm going to sit and meditate. I'm going to go drink my coffee. I'm going to go for a walk. I don't care. Cry. This 10 minutes, it's okay. Nothing will happen. I let my kids know, listen, mommy's got me time. It's 10 minutes. Put the clock on. I'm going out into the garden. I'm going to go sun gaze. I'm going to go do something for myself, because I need to fill my cup. If I don't fill my cup, everyone's going to get the worst of me. And that doesn't make me a good receiver, right? So I have to be in a good state. And it goes back to, in the Quran, where Allah says he will not change your condition until you change yourself.
Yeah.
But we can't change us. Like when we think about changing ourselves, what does that mean? What does that actually mean? Changing the way you think, changing the way you respond, changing the way you show up in life. And personally, since I've been doing this, like my life is in a 360. I can't explain to you, like me living in Gambia, me moving by the beach. Like I dreamt of this lifestyle 3 years ago, and it's happened. Like the way I live now, like I have time for myself. I sleep well. I eat well. I'm always like around my children. I only work like maybe 4 or 5 hours a week. I have people that work, like my employees. I have everyone supporting me. But I had to learn what it feels like for me. So the best way to explain it is, like, when you receive money, right? If you were happy, if you were healthy, how would that money feel? Would it be relief? Would it be security? Would it be safety? Would it be gratitude? For me, it's success. I feel ultimately successful when I have money. I feel like alhamdulillah, like my dad wasn't around. So in my mind, it's like, wow, my dad wasn't around. I lived in poverty. I was raised by a single mom. All odds were against me, but I'm here today and I'm making money. So for me, it's that it builds up my success, the feeling of like, wow, I'm so successful. Like I don't need to keep proving it. I am successful. So it reinforces the belief in my mind. So ask yourself, what would that money do for me? How would it make me feel? Would it make me feel grateful, relieved, happy, secure, joyful? And then start feeling it right now. You might like feel joyful now, feel abundant now, feel safe now, and then you will receive more of it.
So, I mean, I think this is a very important point to point. So I'm going to repeat it. You're saying that we need to figure out why we want something. So if you want money, there's a reason behind why you want money, and everyone has different reasons. And your is success. For somebody else, could be financial security. So I think for me, if I talk about myself, I also grew up in poverty, and I also grew up in the single parent home. And I grew up in a place when my brother went the other way. He was a complete juvenile delinquent and, you know, did everything under the sun, which was wrong. And then he said he corrected himself, and he thank God he went back and did his GCSEs and A-levels, and he got back on track. But growing up, the childhood was traumatic because it was very painful. For me, my biggest thing is making sure my kids have private education. So when I was working, when I started my business, the goal was making sure my kids go to private schools, and they did. And success for me means giving my children the best start in life. So that's my idea of success, to have that. And maybe that's the reason why, because one of my children is coming out of private schools now. She's going to go to college, so we're not going to pay for that. And the other one, his father's taken over it. And so the need for the money, the drive for money, is almost weaning. Does that make sense? And yes. And just talking to you has made me realize, because that was my motivation. I've never been motivated by cars, even though the only thing I like about money is the fact they can buy me cars. I like Bentleys and, you know, Porsches and all that stuff. I'm a very fast car person. But actually, would it make me jump out of bed in the morning and, you know, go and work on business? No. I have no desire for driving a Bentley. I'd rather just stay in bed and, you know, eat chocolates, whatever. I'm happy doing that. I'm not that motivated by physical materialistic goods. But if you need to find some other reason which gives you your why, which gives you, you know, what having money would mean. And I think that's where people lack, because we just want money because people think, you know, I need to have $1 million, I need to have 2 million, I need to have 10 million. What would that money give you? Security? What kind of security? Success, name, fame? What, you know, why is that important to you? What's basically you figuring out what emotional deficits you have at the moment because of the lack of that thing. So if you don't have money, what are you emotionally lacking because of it? If you don't have a partner, what are you emotionally lacking because of it? If you don't have the physical health the way you want, what are you emotionally lacking because of it? And then figuring out how to get into that emotional state now in order to attract whatever it is that you want to have, money, health, and partner, whatever. Is that correct?
That's that, you're bang on. And this stuff works, right? Because I proved it to myself time and time again, and even with my clients. Like, I give you an example. When I was divorced, and I said to myself, I'm just going to remain single. Let me just like be single, focus on my kids, and like just focus on making. I wasn't really bothered about making a lot of money. I'm saying, let me make like 10 grand a month, and that'll be enough. And then when I let go of that feeling, and then I started believing in my mind that I'm married. So the way I dealt with wanting to be single was saying to myself, I'm married. I just assumed I was married. I'll wake up in the morning, imagining waking up next to my husband. He's in love with me. He finds me so sexually appealing. He's like, he loves every single part of my body. He can't get enough of me. That's the feeling I had. The feeling would give me was like security, like feeling beautiful, feeling fulfilled. So I kept focusing on that feeling every single day. I feel so fulfilled. Like I don't need anything. I'm not lacking anything. And then literally a month later, I meet my husband. We got married 10 days after, because I was already in that space of feeling fulfilled. My husband, when I met him, I was like, oh, I recognize this feeling. Dad, he makes me feel fulfilled. By the way he's talking to me, I feel calm. I feel at peace. I feel like I know him. There's no butterflies. There's no red flags. He's just talking to me honestly. But I was envisioning this before I got married to him. Same with the life I live now. I live in Gambia by the beach. And I envisioned living by the beach a year ago, 2 years ago, actually. And then I just kept imagining in my mind, I live by the beach. I'm living an amazing life. I'm abundant. I have a nanny. I have a chef. I have a driver. I have people working in my business. I have a VA. I have an OBM. I have all these people. I just kept imagining in my mind, I have it. And now 2 years later, I have it. Everything I wanted is exactly the way I envisioned it. So this stuff works. It's just you're not focusing on the idea. you're focusing on the feeling it gives you, because the feeling emits a frequency into the world. It's like, the best way I can describe it is like a radio station. If you're thinking in your mind, I need, and you're in lack, you're on the frequency, you're on the radio station of lack. All you're hearing is there's not enough money, recession, inflation, cost of living, crisis. That's all you're hearing. But as soon as you turn the radio station to a different station and it's Abundance FM, all you're hearing is money, you're a millionaire, go get it. You're good, you're good enough, you're amazing. That shift, that's literally what you're doing. You're just shifting the frequency so that you can hear it more in your environment.
And I think this shift is vital before you should do anything. Now, nothing that we're here at the moment. I just want to put this thing out to people. We're not saying sit on your backside and just let bags of money fall into your lap. That's not the kind of the kind of theory we're getting across. We're saying you need to take action, but you should be taking inspired action. But before you take action, you have to have the feeling that goes with with the assumption that you have the whatever it is that you think that you want to manifest into your life. So if you're manifesting, for example, let's use money. If you want to manifest that the 7-figure business or the 7-figure month business, for that matter, it doesn't really matter. These are just numbers. So if you want to be making 7 figures a month, then you need to know why and what feeling would that give you? How would that make you feel? And how does that, and how can you generate that feeling today, this very moment right now? And how can you hold on to that feeling when you are taking action to create that business? I think that's what we're saying. And you need to, go on.
I want to add one thing, like, just ask yourself this question. If I had £1 million in my bank, how would I be? What decisions would I be making? Would I be saying, oh my God, my money is running out? Or would I be like, oh yeah, plenty of money in the world. What can I do with it? So you have to start taking action as if you have what you want already. So it's like, imagine you already had £1 million. Like, most likely in your mind, you wouldn't be spending it recklessly. You'd be thinking about ways to invest it, save it, expand it, work on yourself, for your children, for your family, the charities, the cat, all those things will be happening in your mind. So start taking action from that point. Ask yourself, okay, I've got £1 million in my bank. What can I do right now? What can I do right now is going to take me one step closer to that. What can I do right now? I have £1 million in my bank. What decision can I make with that £1 million in my bank? So it's believing you have it before you see it.
It's basically having it's acting without the evidence of it being physically present yet, and just assuming that it's there, and then eventually that assumption will become reality and it will come there. That's the law of assumption, my understanding of it, what you described. You just need to assume it's already here, it's already there, and nothing's lacking, nothing needs to come to you, it's already here, and take action from that emotional standpoint. And if you hold on to those emotions for the longest duration, they will show up. Now, here's my question to you, Rosalian. Say somebody does that, because I know one of my clients was having a conversation this morning. They've been doing everything, and they're doing everything that I've been asking them to do. She goes, but I just don't see evidence of it. Now I know what I said to her. It was an interesting conversation, because you have to become detached, and the time factor is not up to you. But how do you answer to that question when someone says to you, well, you know what, I don't have the £1 million, and I've been thinking I do, but the fact remains I've got mortgage to pay in the month, and I don't know how I'm going to pay it. So what do you say to that when you say, what would you say to that client when she says, I know what you want to say, Rosalian, but I don't have the money for the mortgage. What do I do?
So it's like you're waiting. What you're doing is you're waiting for your environment to confirm your belief, and it doesn't work that way. You're waiting for your environment to confirm the belief. You have to become delusional about being a millionaire. The same way you're delusional that you're going to become broke and homeless. Just like you're the worst fortune teller when it comes to your own life. You think about the worst case scenario. You have to stop thinking the best case scenario and become delusional about it. And I mean, waking up in the morning and saying, I'm a millionaire. Looking in the mirror, I'm a millionaire. Looking around you, even though there's nothing around, I'm still a millionaire. I've got items that are worth $1 million. Even if you don't see it, even though you don't see the physical cash, you still are surrounded by millions, but can you see it? Because you won't receive it until you're able to see it in other tangible forms, such as cars, the air you're breathing, the abundance around. When you're saying, oh, I have bills to pay, number one, you're putting a condition on money. Money does not flow through conditions. It flows through the path of least resistance. Okay. So what's happening here, when you're saying to yourself, I need to pay bills, you're waiting for your environment to confirm the belief in your mind. You're saying to yourself, well, I did it for one day. Now where is it? That's basically what you're saying. It doesn't work that way. You have to become delusional. Just the same way you're becoming delusional about the worst case scenario. You're the worst fortune teller when it comes to your own life. You tell yourself, I'm going to go broke, I'm going to go homeless, we're going to die. That's what's happening in your mind. You need to become just as delusional about being a millionaire, having money, having your bills paid. Because think about it, everything you're afraid of has already manifested. You can't pay your bills because you believed in your mind.
Yeah.
You don't have the money for it because you told yourself, I don't have the money for it. You're literally speaking everything into existence. So now that you know this, all you have to do is switch the flip and say, flip the switch and say, oh, okay, I'm a millionaire. I am a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. Every time I go out of my home, I act like a millionaire. I feel like a millionaire. I'm going to dress like a millionaire. I am a millionaire. No one can tell me nothing. That's how you have to be when it comes to your belief system. And then what will happen is your environment will shift. You will feel the environment shifting. Chaos will happen. Maybe a bill will come and you'll be looking at it thinking, oh my gosh, I'm doing this work. How do I have a bill? That's because God wants to give you more. A bill is proof that more money is coming your way. You just have to let go of the attachment you have to money. You have to let go of the how. You have to let go of the timing and realize that everything is working in your favor. All you have to do is believe that it is. Let go of all the attachments in your environment and believe it's happening because you 100% believe it.
Oh, that's awesome. And I love what you said, become delusional. That's the first time actually I've heard them say it, but I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And the reason why I love it so much is because you're absolutely right. We are delusional. We keep thinking, oh, I'm going to go broke. Oh, this is going to work out. That's not going to work out. And the fact of matter is 9 times out of 10, you are delusional because those things will never come to pass. That will never happen. You're not going to go out in the streets. You're being delusional when you say that. However, we are more inclined to believe that scenario and have, and lean more into fear than into faith, which is, being delusional the other way. Like, I'm a millionaire, I'm a billionaire, I'm this, I'm that, or whatever. And accepting that and speaking that into reality. I think the words are very, very powerful. And I think the thoughts are powerful, but the words are more powerful. So if you think something, it's one thing, but when to say out loud and say it to yourself on a repeated, like almost like a loop at the time. So when you, especially coming towards the end of the month, we do that quite a bit because, and we're talking about this because we're recording this in the end of the month. And I'm sure this, Black Friday just gone and so forth. We're going to have loads of people which are, who've overspent for whatever reason. I don't know, big thing with discounts is, but anyway, they overspent. And now they're thinking, oh shoot, they haven't got enough for the rest of the bills. But then you have to become, exactly you said, delusional. Think, I am abundant. I have money. Money comes to me all the time.
I want to add here, if you're spending money, I don't want you to imagine that you're spending money and you've lost it somewhere. I want you to imagine you're going to Tesco's. Tesco is your bank account. You're just placing money there. That's all you're doing. So whenever you're spending your money, you think to yourself in your mind, oh, I'm going to put my money, I'm going to deposit my money into Tesco. I'm going to deposit my money into, Asda. I'm going to deposit my money somewhere. So that in your mind, it shifts and it tells you your money is not lost. It's around you all the time. You want to go back to Asda, the money is there. You want to go back to Tesco, the money is there in your mind. Remember, your subconscious mind is here to prove you right. So every time you say to yourself, I am depositing money into Tesco, it's going to come back to me multiplied. It will. Your subconscious mind is like, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. That's what's going to happen. And the more you keep saying that to yourself, this is what I used to do. I remember one time I wanted to spend money for my children. I wanted to spend like their clothes and stuff, and it came up to £200. And I was like, oh my God, I only have like £250 in my account. But then what I did, it was like, okay, I'm going to imagine this money, I'm going to spend it, it's going to go to everyone, it's going to multiply and come back to me. And that's exactly what happened. Within a week, something happened. I was like, oh, I've got more money back. That's literally what happened. It multiplied and came back to me because I believed it would. So if you put intention onto your money and say to yourself, money is being deposited in a different bank account, I'm just moving it. I like moving my money. I like blessing people with my money. I want to bless people. The people in Asda, they have kids. I want to bless their kids with my money. The people, whatever it is that you're spending your money, they have families. They have people who have dreams too. I'm blessing them with my money. The more you think that, it will come back to you. Guaranteed. Try it. You'll be shocked.
I absolutely love that. I've never actually thought of it this way, but I think that's such a profound way to look upon it. When you're spending, you're blessing people who are you're spending money with. So instead of thinking you're spending and money going away, see it as an investment and something that's going to go and come back many-fold. And when you expect things to happen, they're more likely than not will happen. So when you expect money to come back to you in tenfold, so if you spent £100 or £200 in Asda or Tesco or what have you, you're expecting that money to come in 10x back to you because that's what happens when you invest money and you become a great investor. So that's where you are investing money. You're not spending money, you're investing money. And that's what all the time you're doing. You're allowing money to have this free flow. And the more you allow money
Yeah.
to have a free flow, the more money will come back to you, and with greater velocity and being more ferocious with it. So in larger amounts. But it's a wonderful way to look upon spending rather than actually wasting money. You're actually spending money in that way where you're investing and you're just depositing money into these different accounts.
Right. And when you say wasting money, what does it do? It makes you feel so bad.
Yes.
It makes you feel so ashamed. And then that repels money, because money, this is the language of money. Money literally says, oh my God, we're stressing Rosie out. Let's not go to her. Let's just wait until she's calm about us. Then we're going to come back to her. So whenever you say I'm wasting money, it's like your husband. If you were to say to your husband, oh, I'm tired of you, you're annoying me, you're wasting time, would you have a great relationship with him? No.
Yeah.
If you're constantly critical of him, belittling him, ridiculing him, shaming him, you would not have a great relationship with your husband. The communication will be off. The same with money. Money is a relationship. The more you speak about money in a good way, saying money is coming back to me, money loves being spent by me. Money is a tool that I use. Money is useless without me, because until you spend that £5 in a shop, it's just sitting on your table. It's just a piece of paper. The money is only useful when you spend it. The more you say to yourself that money is my friend, it loves being around me. It loves taking care of me. Money loves being around me because I have great energy. It can't get enough of me. I promise you're going to shift the way you think about money, and you're going to see abundance everywhere. It's literally like, it's impossible not to see it when you start thinking of it in that way.
I've got a question for you. What about people who have made bad investments? And here I talk about, because we've been through a crypto downfall recently.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So, there are many people who went and invested in, I don't know, shares and other things. And I made my big boo-boo with Forex investing at the beginning of the year. So crypto was a smaller loss compared to my bigger loss with Forex. So what happens and how should we view bad investments? Or, for example, you've got property, and you bought the property the wrong time, or you bought the property the wrong place, because I'm in property investing too. So I hear that quite a lot with people, like they invested in the wrong location, or they didn't do the right thing, or they didn't get the right planning permission, or whatever, they got bad tenants. So how do you deal with, when you have actually invested money and it's actually, not paid off, and it's actually, you feel stupid because you've invested in the wrong, it's supposed to be sure thing, but it wasn't a sure thing. How do you deal with that? And then you actually feel, because this is more important, because now you feel stupid. Not just that you think you're stupid, you are feeling stupid. And, the fact that you're a bad investor. How do we deal with that?
So the way that I see investments is, there's no good or bad investments. The way I see is that you are strong enough to trust yourself to make a financial decision. That's huge. One thing you should do is remind yourself that you, the adult that you are, made a huge financial decision. You trusted your gut. There's nothing wrong with that. That is beautiful. That is a beautiful experience you went through. And because of the way you're seeing it, is becoming. So what if you were to see that investment as like, I learned so much from this. Oh my God, that was such an amazing experience. Or I'm so grateful that I was able to have that money and invest it at that time. I'm so grateful that I trusted myself and I went with my gut. Because when I went with my gut, it was the right thing to do at that time, right? May not now, but at that time, it was the right decision to make. And I'm so proud of myself for making that decision. And then what you can do is, whenever you think about the investment, you just say the full statements. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. So when you say thank you, you're thanking yourself for making the investment. When you say I'm sorry, you're saying I'm sorry for shaming myself for making that investment. When you say please forgive me, you're saying forgive me, money, for talking about in a bad way. And I love you to yourself, that I love you for making that decision, for choosing you. Because remember, you could have chose to save that money, and that money will be decreasing anyway, because inflation and cost of living. Right. So the money in your bank account anyway, even if you saved it, you still have made a massive loss. But instead, you made a decision to invest in yourself and say yes to yourself, whether it was stocks, whether it's Forex. You said to yourself, I want to play the game. I want to go big. Wow, that is fantastic. That is amazing. In a society where we're always shamed for making decisions, you made a decision and you stuck to it. Be proud of yourself. That's what I would say.
Oh, what a wonderful answer. And I totally agree with you. I think nothing happens to you, everything's happening for you. And if you've made a loss in particular, I mean, that's why I think my brother and some of the people couldn't work out why I walked away from heavy losses and think, it'll be fine. And they just think you just have too much money. That wasn't the case. It was painful experience, but it was a learning experience, and I've taken it as a learning experience. And I think you're absolutely right. You need to use, the method, the 4 statements are Ho'oponopono, using that strategy, or any number of other strategies you can use, but you need to reprogram yourself and how you view that investment and how you view yourself, and understand that you were doing the best thing you could possibly do with the knowledge you had in those circumstances at that moment in time. Hindsight's a great thing, but it's, you know, it's never, we never have the knowledge of the benefit of the hindsight in the present moment. And if you say everything as working towards you, you have no idea what that lesson and how that lesson is going to benefit you in the coming years and months. And it may be that 5,000 or 500,000, whatever you've lost in that, you know, whatever, because I know people have lost a lot of money in crypto. If you've lost that, you know, that certain amount, that could come back in 10-fold or 100-fold. You may make 5 million or 50 million in the coming years. Right. And this is where it's never a loss. It's always an investment. And it may be some investments pay off quickly and others pay off in, you know, in a period of time. But if you expect miracles, if you expect, you know, great ROIs, then that's what will come in one form or another. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap up. It's been such a fantastic conversation. We can carry on talking, but we do need to wrap up. So tell us, Rosalean, how do we connect with you? Where can we find you on the internet?
So you can find me on Instagram. I'm more active there on at Rosalean Batool. Send me a DM. I'm currently have one-on-one sessions available, and my 8-week program, Sacred Feminine Pleasure. I launch it every 8 weeks. So I have my next round coming up on the 25th of January. And then after that, it'll be sometime in April.
Wonderful. So if you are listening to us on the podcast, then the link that Rosalean just mentioned will be on the show notes. And if you're watching us on YouTube, down below in the description section, we'll have the links for Rosalean to go check her out. She's one kick-ass lady. And if you're watching on YouTube, you realize that this is one lady who actually does all of this with her niqab, which is one unique ability, I have to say. I don't know many Muslim women who do what we do, being one of them, but especially wearing a niqab, let alone hijab. So it's very commendable, and it comes with a lot of stereotypes, and she fights all of them. So congratulations for being such an amazing, inspirational woman for me and for many other people as well. And thank you for being a guest. You've been amazing.
Thank you so much, Gull. Thank you for having me on. Loved it.
Thank you for listening to me and Rosalean today on Money Talkies. I will be back with another amazing guest, finding out how you and I can build a better business. Until the next time we meet, this is Gull Khan signing off. Take care and bye for now.